So in this video I'm going to teach you how to grind down a piece of glass once we've cut it to pattern. So a couple things about our grinders. We have this top shield that protects our eyes from the dust that flies off. We also usually attach a paper towel to the front here with a piece of tape, but since I'm doing the demo video, that would cover up what I was doing, so I'm going to leave that away. Also, we have a sponge back here. You want to make sure that the sponge is wet. And every once in a while you're going to have to go through and clean all the gunk out of the grinders. I just had a class finish, so we still have a lot of debris here, and I would want to clean that out. But because of some time constraints, I'm just going to go ahead and do the demo. There are two grinder heads here. There's one that's larger down here, and there's one that's smaller above. Not all the grinders have the small head above. But this is good for like really tight curves and small pieces that you might come across in advance. So the sponge needs to be wet. So we take a little bit of water and we make sure that this is like a reservoir down here. So you'd pour some water in there, just a little bit, to make sure that this is wet. And I use just a scrap piece of glass to brace my glass under this, because what it does is, usually the grinder's a little bit sharper up here, and also it prevents small pieces from falling into the grinder. The switch is usually on one of the sides, this. And I'm going to explain what I'm going to do first, show you, and then stop the grinder so that you can hear. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to very lightly go around my piece here. So this piece, I'm going to very lightly go around every single surface, no matter how perfectly I cut it. So here I go. So you notice I got rid of the glass under it. It was just kind of causing more problems than helping, so I got rid of it during that time. But I went around the edge of all the glass, and nobody can really cheat you out of grinding the glass, because you can tell if you've done it even once. If I haven't done it, it'll still be shiny and kind of silky looking on the side, and then this will kind of look like beach glass if you've gone over it once. So no matter how perfectly you've cut to pattern, you want to make sure that you go over every surface for foiling. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grind all the way to the paper, making as smooth as possible. And the best way to do this is to kind of gently rock back and forth on the grinder. And then once I get to this tip, I'm going to kind of jab into it till it gets smaller, and then I'll smooth that out. But the key is to go back and forth and to press harder if the glass is too thick outside the paper, and to press lighter the closer you get to the paper. Now, every once in a while you might notice that you might get a little ridge or a little divot in your glass. Keep in mind that to smooth it out, you want to put more pressure where that divot is getting, where it's kind of coming up. And then you want to put less pressure where it's dipping in, because if you put more pressure where it's dipping in, you're just going to make it worse and worse and go under the paper. And in that case, you probably just have to cut a new piece. So we want to try to avoid that. So I'm going to go rock gently back and forth and try to get all surfaces. Depending on how sharp the grinder is, it may take a while. So I'm going to go and do some surfaces of this piece. Okay, so what's happening here is I'm getting this as smooth as possible. And you can see I spent a little time over here because I really had to grind down that glass till it got to the paper. And I keep going back and forth where there's bumps, and every once in a while I'll stop and I'll feel the glass and see if it's starting to create any type of bump that's going to cause a problem later on. So I'm going to just keep going. So there, my piece is done, and what I want to do is I would make sure all my pieces are done, and I'll bring them back to my master pattern. And once they're all completely done in the master pattern, I'll have another video showing you how to complete the fit of your pieces.